Hi, everyone. This is Brittany Bonds, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. This is one of my best friends, Alexandra.
Alexandra.
Wait, say it.
Alexandra.
Thank you. So we are here on my friend Torga's balcony overlooking Friedrichshain, which is a very vibey neighborhood in Berlin. We have just had one of the craziest weeks of beautiful soul family play parties, May Day here in Berlin, which is like a huge epic thing. Naked tea parties. We've been doing the most. As you can tell, we're a little bit tired. But she's leaving tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. And I was like, we have to make a podcast. I love having my friends on my podcast. And we've just been through so much together. So Alexandra and I were on Kopanong during lockdown. We knew each other for 2 years there. When did you get to the island? I can't remember.
I got there in 2020.
I want you to hear yourself for a minute, and then you can take it out.
Okay.
So she got there in 2020 around the same time that lockdown started. And also some cool things about Alexandra that we'll get into in this podcast is she's also into creating opportunities for people to learn about how to get more pleasure. So she is, what did you call yourself? A sexologist?
Yeah, sexologist.
She's a sexologist.
Sex therapy, sex and relationship therapist.
Yeah, so she used to do a lot of workshops around this. She also, you reviewed sex toys for a while, right?
Yeah, and I did host a few play parties.
I feel like I can't hear you. Yeah, make out with the mic.
Hello.
Yes, thank you. So you hosted some play parties. And then she was on the, so that was before you got to Kopanong, right? That was like here in Europe. And then when she got to Kopanong, I was in the middle of developing my play parties. And so she was part of the crew where a lot of people don't know this, but the way the vanilla play party started was I would just have all my friends over, put all the mattresses in the living room. I had like a 3-bedroom villa there. And we would have our clothes on. It wasn't sexual at all, but we would cuddle and like talk about how our week was and just catch up. And this was like something we did all the time at my house. And then other people found out about it and they were like, can we be invited? And I was like, but it's just my friends. Like I didn't necessarily want this to be a public thing. And they're like, can you make it a public thing? And then we were like, oh, maybe. And then we were kind of wanting it to be like more sexy. I think sometimes we were like making out. We were starting to go that way.
Yeah, we were already in a very intimate, squishy setting, but it was just us as friends. But we were so sexually open and comfortable that I felt like we were comfortable exploring each other and things we wanted to explore. And then I think when people kind of saw that, they were like, we also want to explore,
like,
but in a safe space.
Can we get in there?
Yeah. And so since I had already had some experience at play parties and she kind of had her vision of what she wanted a play party to look like, we decided to like blend the ideas and create something for the community to also enjoy and for us to have where it wasn't just like our closest knit of friends, but actually allowing other people to open up and explore something they haven't before.
For sure. And I don't know if you have heard this, whoever is listening, you beautiful listeners, if you've heard the story, because I've talked about it a couple times in past podcasts. But basically, during this time period in, I think, 2020 to 2022, we had this bubble of friends on Kopanong where we were all very sex positive. Everyone was kind of dating each other. So when I talk about it to other friends, they're like, you mean like in open relating, they call it like a polycube or something, like because polyamorous is where like everyone's dating, not everyone, but people are having multiple partners. But we were, I don't know, I felt like we were all single, but we were all, it was like we
were just like best friends in love and also sexually attracted to each other.
Yeah.
But we could separate that like the love we had for each other was like a deep friendship that was more important than the sexual aspect. Yeah. That I felt, and because we were so sexually free, I feel like it allowed us to actually explore our sexual connection as well without it interfering with like the friend connection.
Yeah, and I think we all knew we weren't each other's like life partners, but we loved each other so much as like soul family friends. Yeah. And so in my last podcast, I talk about like, oh, I always make love with my friends. And people are like, I've had multiple of you reach out and ask me like, what do you mean by that? Like, how does that actually work? I'm like, well, Alexandra's here. She was in it with me.
Because I feel like when you want to have sex with someone, at least for me personally, I want it to feel intentional. Yeah. I want it to feel meaningful. And in order to have that, you have to have some connection to someone. And that could mean that like, yes, they're not my life partner, but they could be my life partner in other ways, a soul partner. They fulfill some parts of you that make you like want to be a better person or challenge
I
you in
love
certain
it.
ways.
Yeah, like
but that
for
doesn't mean
me-
you can't be sexually attracted to someone, because
Totally.
our friends are definitely attractive.
Oh my God, we have such hot friends.
So I feel like it's just able to make the distinction between like the sexual connection and then the platonic connection, and knowing that like we have this strong like platonic friendship that is going to last throughout time, whether the sexual aspect is there or not. So why not explore that if we are interested?
Yeah, and I think so many people don't do this because they get worried about it somehow causing disconnection. Like I've had multiple friends that were not part of this group where I explored having, like they were my friends and I explored having a sexual connection. And they were like, I'm just so worried about it affecting our friendship. Like I don't want it to eventually cause disconnection in some way. But I felt like because we were doing it as a group, like it wasn't this one-on-one thing. It was like we all were holding that bubble together and everyone was helping meet each other's needs.
Yeah, because it's more intentional. You're doing it with like love and meaning behind it. Like you actually know the person. They know you. You feel more comfortable expressing what you want, your desires, and I don't know. There's just a more safe.
And I think because it was a group of us, there wasn't this feeling that like, you know, if you're doing this one-on-one with someone, there could be this feeling, oh, someone's going to catch deeper feelings, or it's like it just feels more intense. But we were like, feel like we were spreading that
together,
energy. Yeah, we're doing it together. And also one other thing I wanted to say was that I find it so weird when people have one night stands with like someone they don't know, because for me, I really believe that making love, having sex is like literally merging your energy with another person's soul. Like you're like merging your field, you're imprinting. Someone was telling me, ask yourself when you are about to have sex with this person, do I want their energetic imprint in my body?
Yeah. I think I've thought about that a lot, because I also talked about this yesterday with one of my friends who's gay. And he was like, I wonder if it's a man thing. Like I do like one night stands. And I feel like as women, we're receivers.
Yeah.
Like we receive and they give. And so I feel like maybe it's a little bit different for us, like the energy. I mean, either way, energy is exchange. I just think it's also, what do you want? Sometimes you do just kind of want to get out of yourself and maybe be with someone you don't know and you're never going to see again to like fulfill whatever you need to fulfill, like feel like it's something totally novel.
For
but
sure.
Some people just don't feel aligned with that. Like I don't feel aligned with that. I want my lovers to be like someone I'm deeply connected to. That's why I'm like, they're my lovers, they're my friends. And then I also want like a partner that I have that can hold it down. I think that's the difference. It's all about just what you want and how you want to connect. And I think that we're looking for more like intimate, deeper connections.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring this up, because I think most of the world is into the more light or less connected type of one night stands, or they think that's the only option, is like, I have this monogamous partner or I do one night stands. And I want to share with the world, like, look there's this other option where you can, for me, it's like making love with my friends is like one more level of us connecting, but the connection is already there. Messing up the camera. The connection is already there. It's like super deep, and this is just one more layer of our connection with each other. And I'm like, what a better use of my energy exchange with someone. And also I know them in everyday life, so it's like I want their energetic imprint on me. I love them already. Whereas if I make love with someone I don't know, like, what if they're actually like super anxious in real life? And then I'm like, yeah, like you're saying, as a woman, we're receiving that energy.
It could feel like an energy vampire of sorts. Like it's taking more than actually giving.
For sure. And maybe this is I don't know. This is an interesting point you just said about your friend who's a gay guy, because maybe this is just a safer way for me as a woman to be open. Because I know it's like I'm open within my community. Like I feel protected by the men that I'm sleeping with. Like there is this level, like they really care about me.
Yeah.
Instead of like, okay, that was fun, I'll order you an Uber. Which is a lot of people that I'm like, as a woman, I'd go home and be like, I would feel a little bit used. And I don't think that that's even the intention. That's just the way my energy interprets it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I resonate with that. I don't know. I also do feel like energetically sensitive when it comes to like sharing sexual space with someone.
Yeah, and I think because we work like you have in the past, and I know you're going back into sex therapy in the future, because we work in the field of sexuality, I feel like sometimes people get this interpretation that we're just like down to fuck, like
I know,
down to sleep with anyone.
So do you just like fuck everyone? And I'm
like,
that's
what?
Not what it's about. It's about educating
opposite.
people about how to feel empowered about what they want.
Yeah.
And like actually asking for that. And I feel like when you have partners where you feel safe and you can actually express what you want, and they can give you what you want without feeling like they're not enough, for example, then you really feel in your power, and then you don't want to accept anything less. Then you're like, okay,
you have
I know
higher
that
standards.
I know that it's possible to have sex and have this connection with someone that's like really meaningful, and where I can express my like truest desire, and they're not going to judge me. They're actually
You can be
fulfill
yourself.
that. Yeah, and then it's like, why would I want anything
Less than
that?
And also, I feel like because I work in sexuality, I see so much and I've experienced so much that I'm actually way more sensitive to who I sleep with these days than I was before I worked in sexuality.
Because it's more intentional now.
Yeah.
Now you like see more behind it, and you actually sit with the feelings that it gives you. Like you process that, you know, you're more aware of like how other people are feeling, how it makes you feel. It's more intentional. It's like, why am I doing this?
I feel like if everyone did that and they started asking themselves this question, I think a lot of people are in connection scarcity. That's what I would call it. Like energetically, just, you know, we need about like 7 or 8 hugs a day in order for our nervous system to feel calm. This is a real study.
Yeah.
And most people are barely even getting touched. And then we put all of this connection that you need as just being a human, like this caring touch that you would even have with your friends and family, into the box of lovers or someone you're having sex with. And I just wonder how much people would come at this differently if they were in a community where they were constantly, like, we're constantly cuddling with our friends and we're getting that touch and that love and that affirmation. Also, like, we're always supporting each other and saying really nice things and being like, I believe in you. You got this. I feel like
a big thing about like community, or say wanting an open relationship, is that every person fulfills a different need in your life. Like they offer something different, a different perspective. And that can also apply sexually as well. So I feel like one person can't hold space for everything. Like one person cannot be everything for you. That's why you have like partners, and that's why you have friends, because you need friends to like release some things. You can't put everything on your partner. But it could be the same sexually, where you're like, you want to explore, release something, but you don't necessarily want it to be with like the same person every time. You know, you want to explore. Like explore different things. That's where you learn. I feel like when you meet new people, you meet them. I feel like connecting with people is like connecting to yourself. Like you see yourself in other people, and that's why we get attracted to people, is because we see parts of them that we like, and then parts of ourselves that we like that we see in them, you know, or they're even maybe reflections of parts of ourselves that we want to work on. But like having that reflection is like, okay, it allows me to feel like I can work on this because I see something I don't necessarily love.
Yeah, and I know that the thing that people are really thinking right now is like, that's all great in theory, but then when you're really in love with someone, because I also just need to put this disclaimer out there that Alexandra's always had really positive experiences with open relating. Like you were saying, your first partner you were in an open relationship with, like made sure you felt so safe. He was like obsessed with you, and like his main thing was like that you felt good. Yeah. And I think as a woman, when we feel that in a partner, like, oh my God, I'm the number one, then fine. Yeah, go have pleasure. Like you feel safe to like set them free and like celebrate their pleasure, you know?
Because I think it's attractive watching my partner be with someone else, because I think they're hot. That's why they're my partner.
But because you feel safe, but that they're not going to leave you,
right? Like
and that there's no weird
some
things.
Learning into getting into that. Like I had to have that first partner.
Tell them about what happened when you guys went to like a play party or something.
Yeah, it was like my first play party ever, and it was with this partner who was open, and I was really nervous.
It was your first time being open.
Yes, and I was really nervous, but I'm not naturally a jealous person, so I was kind of like, I feel like this is gonna fit for me. But I remember being at the play party. We're already a few hours in, totally vibing. I was watching him hook up with this girl, and I was like, yeah, that is hot. And then they were really getting into it, and then all of a sudden I just had a shift where I was like, actually, I'm starting to get really jealous. Aww. And instead of like retreating, I literally was like, hey, like, this is hot, but I'm starting to get a little jealous.
So you told him that?
I said it out loud, yeah. Aww. And then he like looked at the girl and was like, I'm sorry, but I have to like take care of my person. And like immediately came over and like rolled on top of me and was like, baby, you're my number one. Like I'm with you. We're in this together. Like you have no reason to feel jealous. Like you're my person. At the end of the night, like you're the one I'm going home with. And that validation just really went far to me. Like knowing that like
Yeah,
no
like,
matter
that's what
what
everyone
chaos was
wants.
happening,
Yeah.
that person was still going to come back to me if they felt at any point that I wasn't feeling safe, you know?
And I think that's what at least I'm being very general right now, but I can't see anyone who wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that what everyone wants, to feel safe and that like, you're with someone and they fucking love you? Otherwise, I used to say this to my last partner. I was like, why don't we just be friends? Like, if this is the level of openness you want, to the point where you're basically solo poly, which is like, I just care about myself, then why don't we just be friends? But so for me, I've had the opposite. I've had really bad experiences with openness recently, to the point where I'm like, I would actually really love to, I think in order to heal that, I would really love to be monogamous for the first while with my partner. I want to be so into my partner.
It's good to set a foundation, and I think monogamy is a good foundation. Like it takes a while to really get to know someone and see the good and the bad parts, and like see how you are as a person and how that person responds to different things in life that happen. And like you need experience for that. It's not something you can just like learn in 6 months, because it takes time for life to be happening. Right? Yeah. And so I feel like if you spend that time in a monogamous form, then it allows you to really just integrate and connect with that person, to like build that trust, to know that like that is my person, they want to be with me, I am like, you know, we've chosen each other.
So you recommend doing that first?
I think it's a great idea.
I mean,
I like highly recommend it. I think it's also, if you're someone who wants to explore being open and hasn't, it's okay if you have like a solid foundation of monogamy. Like if you want to start there and build from that, you can. Like it doesn't have to be so rigid. You don't have to be like, we're in a monogamous relationship, so we're going to be in a monogamous relationship forever. Like that's just not how life is.
The point is about life is it's always changing.
It's changing. So just be open to being open. Like, yes, build trust, build like stability, build connection, and then like communication.
But like I think the main thing is that you feel on the same team the whole way through.
Yes.
Because if one person wants to be in an open relationship and your partner wants to be monogamous, and then you're just kind of like struggling, and you're both like, I'm going to give you this timeline of how long it needs to take. Like I met this couple here in Berlin, and they're like, he wants to be open and she is not sure. And I don't know if she feels safe in it. And so they gave themselves a 4-month timeline. And I don't know. I love looking at how other people do relationships. I don't know. I don't think I would do it the way they're doing it. But also I find it super interesting, because right now we're kind of in relationship anarchy land in the world, where everyone's just trying to figure out what the fuck to do. And the point is that you have to figure it out. Like for each individual person, they need to know what they want, and then they need to express it, and then co-create something that's really unique for each couple.
I think that, it's first knowing what you want. A lot of people don't even know what they want. So I feel like you have to build this understanding of who you are and how you want to connect with others, and then everything will slowly align after that and fall into place.
Yeah, I think in the world right now, a lot of people are lost in the sauce, as we call it, where they're just very confused about who they are, what's happening in the world, this and that. If you were to take one recommendation from this podcast, I think it's to go ground in yourself and connect to your body and connect to what your value system is, because you will never be happy unless you do that. Otherwise, you're always going to be basing your things on other people and what they want. It'll
be making decisions out of fear versus out of abundance and alignment. Like when you know what you want, the steps to get there are clear. It's not. It's a clear.
I really
vision.
believe like the universe responds and is like, oh, that's what you want. But most people are so split inside of themselves and what they want, or they're not willing to admit it even to themselves, like any desires or anything that they're excited about, because they're so worried about just admitting it out loud might cause disconnection, like to their partner, like sharing fantasies or this and that.
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, I feel like I did mention this earlier about how there should be a space for people to be able to express what they want and their partner not feel like they're not enough because of that. Because I feel like that happens a lot, where you say, hey, I want to do it more like this versus like this. And instead of taking it as like advice just to help pleasure your person, they take it as criticism, as if you're doing a bad job.
This is why I'm making this online pleasure school, babe. It's House of Pleasure, because I think there's just these very foundational things that if people like took them as like a toolkit of like how to communicate different things, how to like go at it. It's like we're on the same team. And then I think the making love and like having pleasure would be so much easier. Okay, we're back. We took a little mate break. I feel like I should get sponsored by mate eventually. Anyways, so I wanted to ask you, you came to the play party. So she came Sunday, and then we had the play party on Wednesday this week. How is it for you?
It was a great experience. I
feel like I'm interviewing you. How was it for you?
It was good because I came out of... When I was with you in Thailand, we were doing these things regularly.
Yeah,
and
so it was like
I went
pretty
to
normal.
Thailand, I was also still very connected to like my sexuality and play parties and things like this. So I was already still kind of in that world. It wasn't a new world that I was exploring in Thailand. But then when I left, I completely left
back in the
that
Matrix?
world. Pretty much. Like I guess I maybe naturally needed a little bit of a pause and a break from it. But then I think I took a longer break than I was expecting. And so this was actually the first play party I went to in like 2 years.
Wow,
so
that's so
it
weird
was like
knowing
it
you.
was like being something that was like regular in my life for like many years and then having like a 2-year gap. So it was kind of a nice way to drop back into that world and figure out what I want, because I feel like the vanilla parties are safe. It's a safe space and it allows you to explore whatever you want, whether you want to get more sexual with someone or whether you want it to be more sensual or more cuddly. You can pick and choose and have that experience. So I feel like it allowed me to decide how far I wanted to push my boundary without feeling like I had to go as far as penetration, you know, because I knew that was not on the, like it wasn't on the list. It wasn't an option. So it like made it feel like, okay, anything... It made it feel safer to explore, you know, that I could drop into the space slower and like feel into it, that I didn't have to like rush in and immediately just feel like sexually activated, because I feel like I wasn't immediately sexually activated. I wanted more just sensual touch, cuddling. Like I needed a few hours to like actually warm up to feel more sexually open. So, and I feel like...
and you didn't go in with any expectations.
No, but I feel like the vanilla party is like... it allowed me to have those few hours to integrate. I feel like some parties are so intense that you don't really have that drop-in moment where you do the connection games even. Like a lot of parties, they don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, like there is no moment where you're all kind of collectively sitting together for like an extended amount of time or doing games. Maybe it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But like sometimes that's not enough integration time.
For sure. I think the games that we do are just long enough. They're like 45 minutes, an hour or something.
Yeah.
But we're like, you guys are all connecting to each other, so they don't feel like it's...
So then once we start playing, it's like you already have a foundation of knowing everyone.
Yeah.
You already kind of know everyone's boundaries, their limits. You've already intimately connected with some people you might have already had eyes on, you know, because you switch partners throughout the games. So then it gives you the opportunity to be like, ooh, I had eyes on that person. Maybe I'll do the next game with them.
And like talk to them.
Yeah, without
I think it's so
having
nice.
anything else.
Yeah, being able to have a conversation with someone before you get into the open play, where it's just like a free for all, you know?
It makes more intentionality. It goes back to that, like actually having a meaningful, intentional connection with someone.
Yeah, and I
You're
feel
getting
like
to know them.
a lot of people feel like they're starting to become part of our community too, because we get to know them too. And so if we like are vibing with them, we like kind of invite them into our inner circle, which is so fun.
Yeah.
To meet new friends. I just loved it on Saturday I always feel like it's Saturday because it's the first time I've done a play party that's not on a Saturday. On Wednesday, when we got to the space, it's like this beautiful rooftop, like penthouse, luxurious, I don't know,
unbelievable
thing,
unbelievable
like this dome
energy.
thing. If you didn't see it on my Instagram, please go look. It's epic. And it had a private sauna inside that could fit like 15 people. It's like, it was pretty
At
big,
least,
maybe
yeah.
more. And like 2 master suite bathrooms with like bathtubs. You can take bubble baths in. It was super vibey. And so when we got there, it was like a bunch of our friends came from out of town and met up. We all wanted to see each other in Europe. And then the play party was like an extra fun thing. So a lot of people came into town. A lot of our friends came into town for it. And we met Robin like at the space, and like so many people were coming. And then so I felt like people were paying us to just have a vibey party in a penthouse suite. Like I was like, how is this our life? And like we're just having so much fun. Like I felt like we were so dropped in as a group of friends. And then when people arrived, they just came into that energy of like, oh, it's just this cool house party.
Yeah.
I really love that, because some of the times I host them, they're just not as dropped in. You know, we always get there eventually, but this one was
it
like
takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people just immediately felt comfortable. I think that everybody that came was really receptive and wanted something new. They were ready to explore. And then you had the core group, which you knew already kind of knew what they wanted and had explored. So there was a good balance of like the experts and the novices.
Yeah. And
right?
I think that's it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun mix.
And that mix is like what I think you're trying to go for with the vanillas, like allowing there to be space for people who haven't experienced play parties, and then allowing there to be space for people who are experts but want to explore a different version of a play party.
For sure. Yeah. And I think like people have asked me like, what do I need? Like, do I need to know anything in order to come? And I always just say, as long as you have an open heart, that's all you need. And I think that's the thing is like when people come into the space, they can tell that we're super open and like down to earth and like nice people, you know, like no one's putting on, they're not trying to be stuck up or anything. And so it makes people feel safe to drop in. And I would love to continue doing that like around the world.
Yeah.
So
I'm ready to hold it down, the Europe edition, while you go out to LA.
I know, like, but I want you to come live in LA with me. We pulled tarot.
That'll also happen.
We pulled tarot on us all living together in LA. It was saying that it could work, but we need to plan for it. So do you want to share, like, also a part of you coming to the play party and you coming here was like you're in a open relationship right now, like, right? You're like you're fully in it with this beautiful man named
fully in it, Andreas
in Cyprus, who is this like very sexy private chef thing going on. She's like, yes, all of those things. So how is it for you guys to have you come here and like go to the play party and stuff?
Honestly, the first moment I brought it up, he was excited. I feel like
he was excited for you.
Yes, I feel like he knew that like I was ready to reconnect with this part of myself, because we've been talking a lot about it, about where I am now, about parts of myself that I was connected to that I don't feel as connected to anymore. And so I feel like as soon as you said you were coming and you were throwing a play party, his immediate reaction was like, wow, I'm so grateful that my partner's going to get to have the connection and experience that she has been disconnected with for so long. Yeah. Like he was like excited for me to be able to reconnect with myself.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why I feel like we have such a beautiful, loving, trusting relationship, because at the end of the day, what we want is for the other person to be happy. It's like not possessive. It's very just like, I want you to be happy and I know this is going to make you happy and it's not going to change how you feel about me. Like if anything, this whole experience has made me be like, okay, like I am looking forward to going home and being with my person. Even though I did get to energetically like share beautiful time and space with other people, like I know that he's the person I want to go back to, you know, but I love that I get to have that freedom. It's like you are given the forbidden fruit and yet you still, it's like you still want, you don't want it, you know?
So you got the option. I think that's the thing.
Is like having the option, the freedom.
And you're choosing him out of like abundance, not like scarcity. Like I have to choose you. Like
it's not like I feel like we need to be together, that we're like codependent on each other. We have the ability to be free and explore, and then I feel like that ability, when we do explore, we realize, wow, but I still want to come back to you at the end of the day.
That's
and
beautiful.
I feel like he had a similar experience, you know?
I love that.
So yeah.
And I think that's also, like you were saying, because you guys have this really great foundational trust. Like you really love each other, you trust each other, you are there to protect each other's hearts and be on the same team, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Aww. We are like such team players.
I love that.
I feel like that's what you were getting at. You want the safety. You want to feel like your partner makes you feel like they're your number one. Like when Andreas first had his moment where he hooked up with someone else, I remember him calling me and being like, baby, I just connected with this girl and I kind of want to take her home, but like I'm thinking about you and I'm worried. Are you okay? Like, is that okay with you? And like, I was just smiling so much because I just felt so seen and appreciated and like respected, that he was actually respecting me and my emotions.
Yeah, he like cared more about you than about hooking up with her. He cared more about how you were feeling.
And that just made me be like, yes, baby, like you be free, enjoy, because you deserve to explore yourself and you deserve to feel pleasure and feel good in your body.
Of course.
And like, we want to connect to humans because we are human.
I think it's just like when a person feels safe enough that connecting with him connecting with her doesn't take away from your guys' connection.
Exactly.
Like how does it feel when he connects to someone else? How does it feel for you? It feels neutral.
It's
okay,
neutral.
Cool. So it's not adding, but it's not taking it away.
Like, I trust him. I know that, like, he still loves me. If anything, I feel like every time it reaffirms our connection.
Because he's coming back and choosing you.
Yeah, because he's coming back to me at the end of the day, and I'm coming back to him. Like, it doesn't matter how deep or how far the connection went. He's still coming back to me. Like, we are ending up together in our unit because we're a team. Like,
you're gonna make me cry. I love this so much. This is what I'm craving. This is like what I'm preaching. I feel like you're able to embody this. Like I'm ready to embody this with someone. You know, universe, I'm here. Also, I'm like vibing on my own too. Yeah. I'm having such a great time. But I'm just saying, if I were to enter into a relationship, it would be this kind of dynamic. Yeah. And I love that you're already like living it. Yeah. Because sometimes when I talk about this to some of my friends, they are not necessarily in our world. And so they're kind of looking at me like, is that possible? And I'm like, I know it's possible. Yeah. 100%.
I'm living proof.
You're like, hello, everyone. Hello. Talk to her. She's living proof.
Communicative, loving, open relationships are possible.
I'm so celebrating you and your relationship, and keep us posted because we're all going to be watching on what happens. And like cheering you on the whole way. Yeah. I think it's also really important to like support people who are like doing it. You know, they're like on the mission, figuring out what kind of relationships work and what doesn't. And her mate.
I just hope you and I can create more knowledge and awareness around the fact that healthy relationships are possible and they do exist. And I feel like we are embodying that, and I want to be living proof of that so people can actually see and believe that it is possible to like be so connected to someone, you know, but like to be really connected to someone on that level, you have to be really connected to yourself. As we were saying earlier,
you have to hold your center.
Number one priority.
Yeah.
So I feel like, just us being connected, us doing this, us just speaking, being living living evidence of positive connection and open connection is like part of the process for people to educate, is to see. Sometimes you need to see and hear to believe.
For sure. We all learned the best through storytelling, like through hearing other people's experiences. I think last year when I broke up with my ex in a really dramatic way, I actually had a lot of people on the socials say like, this is why open relationships don't work. And I was just like, no, this is us out here living it, experiencing it. And some people don't have the maturity level to handle it in a way where it can be a positive outcome. So this is also about knowing yourself and being in your center, because it's one thing to know yourself. It's another thing to be able to hold your sovereignty and who you are when you love someone else so much. It's so easy to just get lost in that person.
Because you can say like, yes, I do want an open relationship and I am like this free spirit, but really that is just driven by ego. And that's why it's like, it's not authentic at that point. It's just driven by this like external validation.
For sure. So there's like different ways of how you can do openness. You can also like be following all of the agreements that you have with your partner, but have the wrong intention and have it be this ego thing of like, I need to fill this hole of validation. Or you can have it be like, I love my partner so much. We are in such an abundance that we just want to share this abundance with other people and have more pleasurable experiences and like bring that energy back into our partnership. And that's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
for sure. And yeah, I feel like in the future, like you guys like pay attention to the space, because I feel like we are going to co-create things in the future. Right now I'm building out like a lot of online offerings, and you're going to go back home and like figure out what your next steps are. But it's definitely
life goal is to have a TED Talk. So if you don't see me on here again, you will see me on a TED Talk stage. Or if you know anyone that can get her on the TED Talk stage, hook her up. So this is where my path is aligning me, and I'm just slowly taking the steps to like get there. So
what if we post this and like 1 year later you're giving a TED Talk? Everyone send your manifesting powers into this, please.
Yes.
It's happening.
So yeah, I mean, whether it's tomorrow, next year, it's happening. I feel aligned with that. So, and I feel like you have your higher purpose, which is also educating out to the people.
For sure. And I'm so excited to do it more in the online space, because I know it's helping people in these parties that I'm doing, and the different coaching I do, but I'm excited for...
Because that's the real life experience.
Yeah.
It's like the verbal hearing experience, getting it out, feeling your emotions, talking about them, and then the actual sensational aspect of it.
For
and
sure.
I feel like you need to hold space for both.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are holding the physical space for people to explore their pleasure, and I want to hold the like more educational, like verbal space and emotional space for
Do
that.
it,
Right?
babe. Yeah, and that's also
That's why we will align many times
Yeah, and
later
I know,
and
like,
collaborate,
yeah.
like for sure.
I've always been the one to like kind of go first and like spearhead and be like, okay, guys, how are we going to do this? Let's figure this out. Because I am building an online educational space, and I love that you're going from the angle of wanting to be more like going back to
in
school.
the institute,
Yeah, in the
more like
institutional
institutional
side.
medical
And I'm more in the
setting.
rebellious, like, let's do this. Like, just try this out. Let's go. And I think that's
But we
really
need
fun.
both.
Yeah.
We need both.
Yeah, like we were talking about how, like, okay, if there's a spectrum here and there's like the spiritual people, the 3D matrix people, like Alexandra's more in the middle and I'm more in like the spiritual, like rebellious side. Like we need to create a whole new earth.
And I want to blend
You
the
wanna
like
bridge.
institutional, medicinal, and the holistic way together.
Yeah, and
Because
it's all,
they can't be separate. They need to be together.
And I think it's because that's going to speak to people that are also like that. You know,
Yeah.
like for me, I speak to people that are like so ready for a change, like right now.
a new enlightenment.
Yeah, and I think that's just what. But I love that because I want to speak to all the people.
Yeah,
you know? So we
I'm
all
just
partner
getting them
together.
one step closer to you.
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
I'm just
'cause
starting with
sometimes
the
when
more basic humans where they need like a little extra. Like,
all of you who are listening to this, apparently you're not a basic human. Sometimes when people listen to my podcast, they're like, I don't even know what you're saying a lot of times, but I just like the vibration, so I just listen to it. I'm like, I don't think I'm that. Do you think I'm esoteric in my? Like some people have said I'm pretty esoteric. Like talk about like a lot of spiritual woo stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say that I am?
I would say, but not in a bad way. I feel like it's all part of like who you are and your higher purpose. Like there is a lot of people who are in this esoteric state but lost, and you're not.
No,
and
I'm
that's
not.
why you're holding space there for it, because you're trying to bring people who are lost in that like spiritual esoteric space grounded.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know.
And I think doing the vanilla parties here in Berlin is also kind of like there was a lot of people I think that came to the party on Wednesday that weren't really in the spiritual scene.
Definitely.
So like you were saying, it's half, and I also love blending that, you know.
Yeah.
But this,
it's just the world of more unity, more
For
connection
sure, yeah.
in every aspect.
I think that's possible, and we're doing it. It's happening.
Yeah.
Well,
Join us.
Join us. Are you ready for this mission? Can you handle this? Okay. I think we're gonna sign off here. I'm so happy to have you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
just want
babe.
to celebrate love, celebrate you.
Oh, I love
Grateful
you.
to be here.
Oh, I love you. So tomorrow she heads back to Cyprus, which makes me sad. I don't know if we said that. I mean, that she is Greek.
Cypriot.
It's like the second time I've done that this week. She is from Cyprus, but you were born
First generation born in America.
Born in America, but she grew up for her childhood in Brazil.
Little bit of an international baby here.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I have so much comfort with traveling.
Yeah, and then you went to university in the States too.
Yes,
yeah.
and then Copenhagen for a little bit.
Wow, girl, you're all over the place. I love it. Okay, so she's going back to Cyprus tomorrow. I am going to be in Berlin for the rest of the month. I think I'm doing another play party, so tentatively mark your calendars for May 16th. By the time this video is posted, which is like in a day or two, it probably will be announced. And sign up because it's going to be super epic. And it's on a Friday, so I think that will be a lot cooler for people who have Matrix jobs. You know, like people in the Matrix.
Real world jobs.
Real world. Okay, we're sending you all lots of love. Have a beautiful day. See you in the next podcast. Bye.